All right, ready to dive into something a little different? Breakfast curry.
Oh, yeah.
I know, I know. Not your typical breakfast fare, but stick with us on this deep dive, and you might just find your new favorite way to start the day. We're working with a really cool recipe today, but as always, we'll be going beyond just the how-to and getting into the why.
Yeah, why curry for breakfast? I think it's a question a lot of people might be asking.
Right. So I think a lot of us get stuck in those breakfast ruts, right? Cereal, toast, maybe some yogurt if we're feeling adventurous. But what if I told you breakfast could be a flavor explosion?
An explosion of energy, too, right?
Exactly. This recipe is packed with goodness, and we're going to break it down and see why it's such a smart choice for anyone who wants to feel energized and ready to take on the day.
What really struck me was how this recipe challenges the idea that certain foods belong to certain meals.
You know, it's true. Why do we box ourselves in like that?
I mean, who says curry is only for dinner?
Yeah.
This recipe is all about breaking those boundaries and showing just how versatile curry can be.
And I think it taps into this growing movement of people who are ditching the sugary cereals and looking for something that's actually good for them, you know?
Oh, absolutely. This breakfast curry is packed with fiber, protein, vitamins, minerals. It's like a nutritional powerhouse in a bowl.
And it can be tailored to all kinds of diets too, right?
Totally. Vegetarian, vegan, you name it. You can swap in tofu for a plant-based protein boost or stick with the classic eggs. It's super adaptable.
So let's get down to business. What caught your eye when you first checked out the recipe?
Well, first off, the equipment list. Super simple. Skillet, sharp knife, measuring cups, things you probably already have.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. No fancy gadgets required.
Exactly. It's all about making this recipe accessible. Even if you're a beginner in the kitchen, you can totally rock this.
Love that. So walk us through those first few steps. How does this breakfast curry magic start to happen?
Okay, so picture this. Coconut oil melting in a skillet, that nice, gentle sizzle. Then you add in those fragrant aromatics, chopped onions, minced garlic, some grated ginger,
I can almost smell it.
and as they soften, those flavors just start to bloom. It's amazing.
And then come the spices.
Yeah. The heart and soul of any good curry. We've got turmeric, cumin, and red chili powder in this one, but it's not just about heat, you know?
It's about layers of flavor.
Right. The turmeric brings this earthy warmth and that beautiful golden color. Cumin adds a touch of smokiness, and the chili powder gives you that little kick. You can adjust the amount to your liking, of course.
So we've got our base simmering away, filling the kitchen with those amazing aromas. What's next?
Veggies. Diced tomatoes and sweet potatoes. They bring in some sweetness and gorgeous color.
Sweet potatoes, huh?
Yeah, they're perfect here. Not only are they delicious, but they're also packed with complex carbs, which give you sustained energy throughout the morning.
No sugar crashes with this breakfast. I'm seeing spinach in the ingredients too.
Oh yes, a handful of fresh spinach adds a pop of color, a boost of freshness, and a whole lot of vitamins and minerals.
Love how each ingredient isn't just about flavor. It's about creating a breakfast that's truly good for you.
Yeah, that's the brilliance of this recipe. It's taste and nutrition working in perfect harmony.
Speaking of tastes, the recipe mentions adding coconut milk for some extra creaminess.
Oh yeah, that's where things get really indulgent.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Coconut milk, it's like a secret weapon.
It makes the curry so rich and velvety,
Yeah.
and it's a great option for those who are dairy-free.
Like they thought of everything. So we've built this amazing flavor base with spices, veggies, and coconut milk. But what about the protein?
Ah, yes. That's where things get really interesting. This recipe offers a bunch of different options to suit your needs and taste buds.
Okay, lay it on me. What are we talking about here?
Well, you can keep it plant-based and go with cubed tofu. Adds a hearty texture and a good dose of protein.
Nice. Tofu scrambles, tofu and stir fries. Why not tofu and curry, right?
Exactly. Or you can go the classic route and add some eggs.
I was looking at those egg options. There are a few different ways to do it, right?
Yeah. You can poach or fry them separately and just gently place them on top of the curry. Let that yolk mingle with the sauce.
Sounds delicious.
Or you could actually poach the eggs directly in the simmering curry.
Whoa, hold on. Poached eggs in curry.
I know, right?
It
It sounds a little crazy, but trust me, it's incredible. The eggs absorb all those amazing flavors from the spices and vegetables.
Okay, that's blowing my mind a little. Poached eggs in curry. I'm definitely gonna have to try that.
It's a total game changer, both in terms of taste and visually. It just looks stunning.
So this recipe is all about pushing the boundaries, getting creative, and having some fun in the kitchen.
100%. It's about rediscovering familiar ingredients and seeing them in a whole new light.
All right, before we get too carried away with all these delicious possibilities, let's take a step back and address some practical questions our listeners might have. First and foremost, can you make this ahead of time?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, it's a meal prepper's dream. You could whip up a big batch on the weekend and portion it out for the week.
So, quick and easy breakfast all week long.
Yeah. Just reheat it in the morning, maybe add your freshly cooked eggs or tofu, and you're good to go.
Perfect. Now, let's be real. Some people might be thinking, curry for breakfast, really?
I get it. It's not exactly traditional. But let me tell you, let me tell you, this breakfast curry is packed with everything you need to power through your morning. We're talking protein, complex carbs, healthy fats, fiber.
So it's not just tasty, it's actually going to keep you feeling full and energized.
Exactly. No more mid-morning energy slumps. This curry's got your back.
Okay, so for our listeners who are already adding this to their grocery list, what are some good side dish ideas? What would you pair with this to round out the meal?
You could keep it super simple with some whole grain toast. Perfect for dipping.
Oh yeah, gotta have some dipping action.
Right. Or a dollop of avocado. Add some healthy fats and creamy goodness.
I'm a big fan of avocado with just about everything.
Me too. And a fresh fruit salad on the side would be lovely. A burst of color and a nice contrast to those savory flavors.
It's all about balance, right?
Absolutely. Finding what works for you and your dietary needs. Now, are you ready to talk about some of those variations?
Oh, you know I am. Those really piqued my curiosity. Let's start with the Japanese twist, adding soy sauce and miso paste.
Yeah, that one's really interesting. It's that fusion of flavors that gets me excited.
I'm all about flavor adventures.
Right, so you have the richness and depth of miso, and then those warm, traditional curry spices. It's like bringing together two different worlds of flavor.
Culinary fusion at its finest.
Totally. And this variation is super customizable, too.
Yeah.
You can lean into that Japanese inspiration and serve it with steamed rice for a truly authentic experience.
Okay, now you're speaking my language. I love a good rice bowl.
Right? Or you can get creative and add some stir-fried veggies, maybe a sprinkle of sesame seeds. The sky's the limit.
So many possibilities.
Uh,
All right, that one is going on my must-try list for sure. Now, the coconut milk variation, we talked about how it adds that creaminess, but what else is going on there?
Well, it really enhances the overall texture, making it even more luscious and velvety. But it also does something really interesting to the flavor profile.
Oh, tell me more.
It brings out the sweetness of the veggies and creates this beautiful balance with the warm spices. It's like a symphony of flavor happening in your mouth.
And it's perfect for those who are dairy-free, right?
Yep. You get to enjoy all that richness and creaminess without any lactose. And don't forget about the nutritional benefits of coconut milk itself. Healthy fats, electrolytes, and even some vitamins and minerals.
So it's not just a delicious addition, it's a nutritious one too.
Right. It's all about those layers. Now, how about we talk about poaching eggs directly in the curry?
Oh yeah, that one caught my attention. I have to admit, I was a little skeptical at first.
I know, it sounds kind of wild, but it works. So as the curry simmers, you just crack the eggs right into the sauce and let them poach.
Just like that.
Yep. And what happens is the eggs soak up all those incredible flavors from the spices and veggies. It's like an explosion of taste.
I'm trying to wrap my head around it. Poached eggs infused with all that curry goodness.
I know, it's pretty amazing.
Wow.
And visually, it just takes the dish to another level. Super impressive.
So what about those who prefer their eggs cooked separately? Or maybe they're looking for something they can make ahead of time. The recipe also mentions a baked curry variation.
Oh yeah, the baked curry is a great option for meal prep. You can assemble it the night before, pop it in the oven in the morning, and boom, breakfast is served.
Super convenient.
Right, and you can still incorporate the eggs. Just crack them over the top before baking.
Love it. Okay, and for our listeners who are always on the run, we can't forget about the canned salmon variation.
That one's a winner for sure. Quick, easy, and a fantastic source of protein and omega-3s.
Canned salmon, it's like a pantry staple.
Totally. And it adds so much flavor to the curry. It's a really smart way to boost the nutritional value of your breakfast without a lot of effort.
It's amazing how adaptable this one recipe is. So many ways to make it your own.
Yeah, that's what I love about it. It's a blank canvas for culinary creativity. Now, before we move on, I want to touch on the nutritional aspect a bit more. What does a typical serving of this breakfast curry look like in terms of calories and macros?
Yeah, let's break it down.
So depending on your variations, you're looking at about 300 to 350 calories per serving.
Oh, okay, not bad at all.
And you get a really good balance of macros. About 12 to 15 grams of protein, 30 grams of carbs, and a whopping 8 grams of fiber.
Fiber is our friend, keeps you feeling full and satisfied.
Exactly. And we can't forget about those amazing spices. Turmeric, cumin, red chili powder. They're all known for their anti-inflammatory and antioxidant
So it's
properties.
like a bonus health boost.
Right. Delicious food that's actually good for you. What more could you ask for?
I know, this deep dive has been a real eye-opener. I'm totally on board with breakfast curry now. Who knew?
Right. It's definitely changed my perspective on breakfast. Now, before we wrap things up, I want to leave our listeners with something to think about.
Okay, hit me with it.
So we've established that curry can be a breakfast superstar. But what other unexpected dishes could we adapt to start our day in a delicious and nutritious way?
Oh, I like where you're going with this.
It's a challenge to break free from those traditional breakfast norms, to think outside the cereal box, so to speak.
I'm all about breaking the mold. So what are we thinking?
Well, for starters, how about a savory bowl of ramen?
Ooh, ramen for breakfast.
Hear me out. Packed with veggies, maybe a poached egg on top, that rich umami broth would definitely wake up your taste buds.
Okay, I'm starting to see it. A hearty, satisfying, and super flavorful way to start the day.
Exactly. Or paella, traditionally a lunchtime dish. But why not breakfast?
Yeah, that's ambitious.
I know, right?
Mm.
But imagine those aromas of saffron and seafood filling your kitchen as you start your day. It would be a total sensory experience.
All right, you've convinced me. Paella for breakfast, it's happening.
I love it. And we can't forget about bibimbap, that vibrant Korean dish with all those colorful veggies, a perfectly fried egg, and a little kick of spice. It would be a feast for both your eyes and your stomach.
Okay, now you're just making me hungry.
But the point is, there's so much potential out there. By expanding our breakfast horizons, we can introduce more variety and nutrients into our diets.
Instead of those same old breakfast staples, we can explore new flavors, new ingredients, and new ways to nourish our bodies.
Exactly. It's all about breaking free from those culinary limitations and embracing the idea that breakfast can be whatever you want it to be.
As long as it's delicious and makes you feel good.
Right. So go forth, my friends, and conquer your breakfast routine. Embrace the unexpected and don't be afraid to experiment. Who knows what amazing culinary discoveries await you?
Well said. This has been an incredible deep dive. I'm feeling inspired and ready to shake things up in my kitchen.
Me too. And I hope our listeners are feeling the same way. Remember, there are no rules when it comes to breakfast. So get out there, get creative, and discover your own unique morning rituals.
Happy breakfasting, everyone.